Hello, hello, Ederson Oliveira here for DNNHero.com. I have with me as usual, Joe, Scott. Joe, how are you?
I'm fine. We're going to have 60-degree weather here tomorrow, so I'll be even finer then.
Yeah, here too, up in Chicago as well.
You know, the weather here is just so nice right now. Actually, yesterday was a bit cold, but I mean, it has been so mild that I mean,
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, you know.
yeah.
Anyway,
More productive without having to shovel snow every day.
actually, I have a list of how many days I shoveled, and there are not
Oh,
that
really?
many. Yeah, I do have. I do have. I'm a freak. I'm a control freak. I'm a numbers freak. But
Yeah.
more to that another time. Let's go to the DNN weather. Okay, so we
Hot.
what is that?
Hot, hot.
Hot.
Hot. Okay, so not news, but very worth mentioning. DNN 8 is out January 14th. Um, I have installed that for a client actually. The client wanted to take the leap and say, hey, I want to go to version 00 of DNN. I mean, I salute him for that courage. So I had one client running on DNN 8.0.0. Things are going well. One thing that we have noticed, which is actually expected, is the fact that some skins, some themes will break with DNN 8 because of certain things that were discontinued, like and again, whoever is still using the subpart menu, I mean, it's way past their time. But in this particular skin, there was some containers using the subpart for some reason there, and it broke. And we had to use another skin, and the skin didn't show up the menu. So, but the vendor came very quickly and fixed the problem. So again, seems that things are stable there. That was the only problem that I came across so far with this client in DNN 8. And yeah, gave it a try and also checking the breaking changes. Here's I have the breaking changes here in front of me. And again, if you want to upgrade, if you want to give it a try on DNN 8, you may want to have a look at the breaking changes. Most likely, a lot of vendors of modules and themes, they will come up with newer versions, with patches, new versions, because again, things really have changed quite a bit. So I see people like Data Springs coming up with patches for their products, and I think that's, I mean, almost DNN8 will touch on almost any vendor out there, either from themes, from modules. Um, yeah, anything from your side, guys?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
go
want,
ahead.
if you want to see a running DNN8 site, we have the DNN Con site is DNN8. I have been playing with some modules kind of in the background, and for one of them I had to change the skin for the module to function correctly. Didn't have time to dig through it, but that's the only site I have that's live running DNN8. I have a couple of other installations, and I have a friend who, this is a warning for children, tried to solve a problem on his DNN site by upgrading to DNN8, and it failed about halfway through, not for DNN8 reasons, but he was running his site on SQL Express and his database got too big.
So you had a problem there. Your client didn't have a backup, and yeah, he screwed. I mean, again, who the heck will be doing an upgrade without a backup? I mean, that's DNN 101. I'll be mentioning that during the DNN Con training, but we're gonna get to the DNN Con in a second.
He's not screwed yet. I haven't given up, but it's going to be tough.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, to recover from a bad backup, oof, I don't want to be in your shoes. Uh, Anything major, any major problem that you guys have seen on DNN 8? I mean, any hearsay?
No, yeah, I think I've answered a couple of Stack Overflows, and one was the sole part action, which is in the containers. The fix to that is easy. Just delete it, delete the reference to it, delete the token, and then there was another thing where they moved. I think this is the reason why module vendors are having to repackage some things. Is they moved several of the controls from the I think it was the .NET Nuke .web assembly or .web UI or something like that. Some of the older controls out of that, and so if modules were referencing those, they simply need to change the reference to this new assembly called .NET Web Deprecated, something like that. So I mean, the fixes I've seen have been fairly easy. It's just kind of fix a reference here and there, yeah, it hasn't been too bad.
Got it. Okay. So again, for now, that's about. Oh, by the way, there is also the roadmap that you guys can be checking. The next minor release of DNN 8 is scheduled for mid-March, so March 16th. And that's a maintenance release, nothing too new, but again, bug fixes that have been reported will be addressed on that release. So again, you can check the roadmap, and all the links will be posted in the video page. Scott, as I said, I want to put stuff that is related to you at the top. So I pushed the topics that are related to you, Scott, to the top of our conversation because you may have to drop from our call. I would like to mention about the new set that you have put up on DNN Hero, which is related to the DNN 8 module challenge. So can you tell us a little bit about your module for the DNN 8 challenge?
Yeah, and you can watch the video that's on the GitHub page for it. It gives you an overview, plus obviously the video, the training video. But yeah, I Will asked me if Will and Joe Brinkman were, asked me if I would do that. And I of course said yes. And so I was trying to think of what I could do, and I don't know, it just kind of came to me. I've lately been trying to figure out how to analyze logs for clients to figure out which errors are happening the most, and I thought, well, that might be a cool little project. So that's kind of what it does. It analyzes your log4net logs that come out of your DNN environment and kind of order it by the severity levels and by the number of occurrences. And eventually maybe I'll add some more stuff to it as well. But I thought it would be interesting also to use SignalR to do those kind of client update or those continuous updates, and really all it's doing is updating a progress bar. But I think the pattern there to show to developers is you can do a lot of stuff with it, and there are some interesting things you have to do in order to make it work with DNN 8. Part of that is just reading through blogs from Chris Hammond, who authored the DNN chat module, which uses it as well, and to try to kind of lay it out in an easy way for our subscribers to understand how it works. So yeah, I'm so busy lately that I have to kill two birds with one stone. I'll do the module challenge, and then that'll also make a great video set as well.
No, it was great, and I had no idea of what SignalR was, to be honest with you, and I came to know that from the video. And by the way, I have the voting page in front of me, the Community Choice Awards, and it says, "Thanks for your vote for Log Analyzer."
There you go.
So I'm voting.
Click on it once a day.
So
I will say it's difficult to choose. There are some really nice contributions in the module challenge.
Yeah, what I'm excited about is not so much, I don't know if I'll win. There's some great ones out there, but and that doesn't matter to me. What's great is that we have 9 or 10 of these open source modules that most of them are SPA, which makes sense because the SPA thing's, I think, a little more exciting than the MVC. But the fact is that we have some great examples that are completely open source that we can now lift code from and learn from.
Got it. Perfect. So just to address a little bit more about the module challenge, the deadline for last vote is March 1st. There are 14 entries, and the good thing is that you can see each entry has a video. So again, you don't necessarily need to use the module, although you can download, of course, but you can watch the video that explains the actual module that was created there.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually downloaded and installed 3 or 4 of them. I'm happy to report that they all installed. And I won't mention names, but I found one module that behaved a little bit odd, reported that on GitHub, and got a fix almost instantaneously. So people
Very cool.
in the module challenge are obviously paying attention to their modules.
Very good, Joe. So, Scott, I do have a question about your module there. Not specifically about the module, but about the log analyzer. About the log that you are analyzing. How does that log compares to the event log?
Internally, if you use the .NET Nuke services to log an exception, it'll go to, I think, both of them. But if you in your module use the .NET Nuke instrumentation, you can do a lot more different types of logging. So in other words, the event log is more for pretty much all errors, right? I mean, they're in different categories, but that's typically where you'll put in your try-catch block, the exception. But the log for net stuff in the .NET Nuke instrumentation is more for just general, obviously you're choosing the log for net, but it's more for general logging. If you don't know, log for net is like a file appender type logging, which a lot of websites use. And you can set different levels of logging. So number one, you can add a custom label for your module, so you can really quickly scan and find out which is for what errors are for your module. But also you can log like debug type messages, you can log informational messages, warnings, and things like that, not just errors.
Got it. Okay, so
it's a little more low level, and DNN tends to log a lot more information in the log for net logs than in the error in the event viewer or the database error log.
Great. That's what I was trying to get. Okay, so that's the DNN8 module challenge. Now let's talk a little bit about the events that is coming up. Joe is the main organizer. Not sure if you guys can read, but DNNCon Baltimore. Let me flip here just a second. DNNCon Baltimore, April 1st and 2nd, 2016, and we are just about a month away from that. So, Joe, what can you? I mean, you don't need to go through each and every detail, but can you give us an update of how are the sessions laid out in the Friday and the Saturday ones?
Certainly. DNNCon is a 2-day event. The first day, Friday, April 1st, is Dnn Training, and we have 3 classes that you can register and pay for to attend. This is the part of DNNCon that is not free, but we have 3 excellent trainers who will be doing DNN Administrator Training, DNN Designer Training, that used to be called Skinning, and I think Theming doesn't say much, so it's Designer, and DNN Developer Training. And golly, we have 2 of the trainers right here on the screen. Adderson will be doing the Administrator Training, and Scott will be doing the Developer Training. The Designer Training will be done by Ralph Williams, who we can't call him just a skin designer anymore because he has a module in the module challenge. But 3 preeminent people within the DNN community who will be doing that training. And anyone who needs a brush up, needs an introduction, welcome to attend those classes. Saturday is the totally free DNN Con event. We have a keynote address by the incomparable Clint Patterson. For those who are not coming from the South, we may have to offer simultaneous translation for his comments. Clint is just a terrific guy. We have a couple of places where representatives from DNN Corps will speak, and I believe that's over lunch on Saturday and in the closing session. And the main program will consist of a set of 5, possibly 6 tracks. We're still sorting out some of the sessions. So if you go to dnncon.com, you'll see a list of the sessions. And I think if you go and look at that and you've been to prior DNNCon meetings, you'll see some really interesting new and different takes and approaches to DNN. And we will have sessions that deal with the new features of DNN 8, designer tips, tricks, and approaches for designing themes for DNN 8. And we have sessions on both SPA and MVC module development, some other goodies in there. I think someone I know is going to give a session on 10 top horror stories from someone who supports DNN. That's Adderson. Scott will be continuing the discussion of his MVC module, and there'll be some others. And last but not least, at the end of Saturday afternoon, in our closing session, as I mentioned, we'll have a short presentation from DNN Corps. We'll have the Ignite sessions. The Ignite sessions are short 5-minute. You have a fixed number of slides and they auto-advance on a schedule. These are typically fun, not necessarily aimed at DNN, but a lot of the fun comes from the speaker trying to get through their allotted slides in the allotted time and not getting out of sync with the slides advancing. And we will have the giveaways. And one of the features of DNN Con has been some fairly cool prizes that are raffled off at the end of the event. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but if you look at the Twitter feed at DNN Con or keep an eye on the website, we'll be divulging those details as we go along. Adderson knows what they are. I told him, so he can nod now and say, yeah, I'd really like to win one of those. Will Stroll, who many of you know, is attending DNN Con this year just as a regular attendee. So he's really excited. I think he believes he's going to win all of the fancy prizes. But he's told me the order he wants to win them in. I have yet to see the bribe, so he's just going to have his ticket drawn like mortal people. Also, networking opportunities during the event, and particularly on Friday evening, we'll have a welcome reception where you can meet and greet. And Saturday night, it's called DNN After Dark. And we'll also have an opportunity for people to get together informally plus we have some time during the meeting to chat with folks and also to visit with the sponsors of the event who make it possible to have a free DNNCon event. So it's about a month. It's about a month away. I suppose it'll be less than a month away by the time this video is available. So go to dnncon.com and sign up.
Perfect. Okay, a few things.
And you'll see all three of us there. You can talk to us about this monthly video or anything else on your mind.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw tomatoes. I mean, you can do whatever you guys want. I mean, it's your chance to say, hey guys, you should stop doing that. You know, I mean, what a waste of time and energy.
If there's enough interest, I'll make sure there's a bushel basket of well-ripened fruit on hand.
And I'll be taking some tomatoes to the event. Okay.
Toronto tomatoes this time of year.
No, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm assuming that you have no idea of what one tomato a day makes procrastination go away. You don't have any idea of what is that.
I did mention that in my summary. I know where it sits in the program, and you will too if you attend or check the website in the first week of March.
Perfect. Okay, one thing, my last name is misspelled on the website. My last name...
No.
You guys bastardized my last name. Man, I mean... Oh, man.
Pop the E in the I again.
That was the one. Anyway.
It will be fixed by the time anyone hears this.
I appreciate very much. Otherwise, people will be totally confused on who is who.
And by the way, in addition to tomatoes, there will be octopi.
Okay. But so just to, I guess, to finish the DNNCon topic, I'm very passionate about the Ignite session that I'll be doing. I'm very into that. Again, so whoever will be there will know what I'm talking about, tomatoes and procrastination. So again, yeah, please go, please sign up. And by the way, DeskPaul is a sponsor of the event as well. And as a sponsor, we have one free ticket for the one-day session. So I spoke with Joe and he agreed to that. So I'll be doing a draft for the DNN Hero subscribers and the DeskPaul clients as well. Whoever is going to the event, put up your name, and here's the form. I'm going to send a link. I'm going to send a notification next week as well. Whoever wants to have a chance to get a free, is that $300? It is, isn't it, Joe?
As they say on late night TV, a $300 value.
A $300 value, yeah. But wait, there's more.
DNNCon, yes.
So again, I'll be sending out this link. If you are a DNN Hero subscriber or DeskPaul client, please put up your name if you intend to go, and then you can pick which session you want to. If you are the one that gets picked on the draft, you will be able to pick the session that you want to attend, and you'll be doing that for free. But I'll be sending an email newsletter next week with more details about that. Perfect. That's about DNNCon. Just want again to quickly mention about another event, the DNN Connect, run by the guys there, Peter, Vicenza, and the third one escaped my head right now. Scott, Joe, I'm looking for you guys. The third one is?
I'm also drawing a blank.
Okay, that's fine. So again, Peter, Vicenza, and there is a third one that's okay. It'll be on Giroma. Philip Becker. Perfect. Great. Thank you. So it's Girona, Spain, and it will be June 2nd to the 5th. And again, beautiful venue. They have something very, very special there for not only for the DNN European community, but again, whoever wants to drop by. We'll talk a little bit more about that as it gets closer. Now our focus really is the DNN Con. That's about it on the DNN Connect. Facebook, I just would like to mention that, I mean, the place right now that I see most interesting discussions on DNN is really the Facebook group. I don't know if you guys are part of that or not. I don't participate too much. I mean, not really, but I see very interesting discussions there. So you may, if you want to get to know what's going on, there's a lot going on the DNN Connect group. Actually, that's a group that is built around the DNN Connect, the European DNN Connect. But again, they have very interesting discussions. A lot of people participating there, even DNN Corp, the community, not only the European one, but globally. So again, there's a lot of interesting things going on in that group. So I really recommend that you join that group. It's facebook.com/DNN Connect. Yeah, I'll post a link on that. Are you guys part of that group by any chance?
I think I do see stuff from them on my feed, yeah.
Yeah, I do find it interesting. I mean, I don't see too many other places, aside from Twitter, which I see a little bit, but there I really find the discussions to be interesting. Anyway, that's my take. That's my plug for that user group, for that Facebook group. Last month, I did, if I may say so, an interesting interview with the guy, Daniel Mettler, the prolific blogger. We talk a lot about his past, his presence on the DNN community, what he does with too sexy content, which I still call it too sexy content. I don't care if he wants to call it too sexy, but it's too sexy content. Again, great module, great open source module, great free module. And again, I had a good conversation with him about that and about his business, his past, and quite an interesting conversation that I had there.
I have one large complaint about that module. They just keep adding features to it, and I can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, that may become, I mean, as long as you can have an introduction for someone that is new on the module to get up and running quickly, as long as additional features don't interfere with the onboarding of new people, that's okay. I would hate to see an over-complex UI that will make a new user scare away, just run away because it's just too complex. So again, as long as the balance between simple, introductory type of and welcoming UI for someone new, as well as some not hidden but more obscure or more you have to dig a little bit deeper to find some of the other more advanced aspects of it. As long as it's friendly for someone new, I'm all for it.
No, I absolutely agree. You can always go in with the structured data and a nice token template and do things that would be very difficult to do any other way. And I probably used it that way for the first 6 or 8 months I was playing with it, just for those simple features. And at some point I had to do something more complicated, and it was just a very natural progression.
I mean, I cannot tell how many awesome modules are there in the marketplace that are great but are very complex. I mean, if you go to their settings, I mean, you're gonna see 10 tabs, each tab with 20 options there. So again, that's not very welcoming. That's what I can say. Okay, this past 30 days since our last talk has been a very prolific month in terms of blog posts. So again, as opposed to January, which was quite small, the number of contributions, on February we had a lot of blog posts, and I'm going to start with the one from Bruce Chapman, using cloud storage for DNN images, users, and folders. So again, he goes into a lot of details of how you can, even how you can have the if I'm not mistaken, the root of your portal site being all up in the cloud, you know. So again, he goes into the details. He goes and explains how to do that from the installation, from the moment that you are installing the new DNN. And again, he goes into great length here explaining that, the different folders. Some of that we already know that can be done via the folder providers, but again, he goes into a great deal of details about using Azure storage account, and I'm assuming that this could be some other storages, storage options as well. But yeah, great blog post from Bruce Chapman. By the way, I think it's a post that came out of a discussion on the MVP, in the MVP group. Next one here. I know that you have some insights here that you want to give, Scott. That's the blog post from Mr. Chris Hammond, and it's about the new template, the Visual Studio 2015 template for module development for DNN, which has a wizard to customize it. There were some aspects of the previous versions of his templates that you needed to actually open up the template source and make modifications to that. But with this wizard, it seems that this is no longer required, and it will ask you for the options, the names that you want to apply for namespace, for owner, all of that. Scott, do you want to give your 2 cents there?
Yeah, it's actually really similar to the MVP template that I built, where it allows you in the project creation process to specify those things. The big thing was the dev URL, because most people they have multiple projects, so they can't use dnndev.me for their new project. Usually, like, what we'll do is use the client name, like, deskpal.dnndev.me or whatever the project is. And so this allows you to specify that up front, so that you don't have to create the template with a different URL and then set it back later, as well as have to overwrite the owner name and the copyright on every class definition. You don't have to do a big copy replace. So this is how my MVP template worked, and I'm glad to see that he was able to get this working in the new Visual Studio 2015 with the new DNN 8 templates. That means I don't have to do it, and so I'm kind of happy about that. I left him a nice comment on the blog post too. So I actually haven't even looked at it. I haven't downloaded it yet because it just came out, this blog post just came out 2 days ago, but it's now, you can get it through the Visual Studio online template. So he's registered it with the Visual Studio stuff, so you can pull it down and then install it very easily. You don't have to remember where his GitHub is or anything like that. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm probably going to try to contribute some of my unit tests, that I had in my MVP template, refactor them for MVC, and hopefully between me and Chris, we'll put together some really cool templates.
Perfect. Very good. Very good. Next one in my agenda here is a blog post from Daniel Mettler. And the reason why I brought this up is because I use this kind of feature so many times a day, so much on Google Chrome. It's the debugging elements of not only Google Chrome, but the other browsers as well, which you usually can reach them by just pressing F12. So again, you can debug JavaScript errors, and I'll be honest, just recently I figured out how to really debug JavaScript problems, correctly using those kinds of tools. So Daniel Mettler goes through a lot of explaining about how he does that, and based on the snapshots that I see here on the blog post, he's using Google Chrome. So again, great stuff here. Have a look if you want to debug properly JavaScript codes on your DNN site or any other site that you might be using. So the other blog that I came across this past few days was the blog announcing the new DNN documentation center, which is supposed to centralize all documentation about DNN from a developer standpoint, from an admin standpoint, from a designer standpoint. So again, I think it's a great move from DNN Corp to have finally one of the big complaints from the community in general, from users in general, which is the lack of documentation. Okay, so again, this complements, this should address that in the next few months, because again, they're just getting started. There's not a lot of content there yet. Have you guys gone around and had a look at that by any chance?
Yeah.
I took a brief look, and it looks terrific. Much better organized than the old wiki, and yeah, still a lot of placeholders, but I like the approach and expect as it develops, I'll actually start using it more.
Perfect. Okay, next one here. That's the last blog post that I'm going to talk about, and this is fresh out of the oven there. I mean, it was just yesterday. Today is Saturday 27th, and this came out yesterday, February 26th. So it's a community blog guidelines published by Joe Brickman on what people should be blogging about on the DNN community blog and should not. So the do's and don'ts of the community blog members there. So an interesting one. If you are contributing some content to the DNN Corp blog website, you may want to have a look at that. And it's basically about, being positive, not overly sally or marketing too much. It's an interesting. I mean, it's an interesting way of. And I'm pretty sure that people who does those kinds of things, they know that, oh, he's talking about me right there. So again, it's a good way to not send a one-on-one message to anybody in particular, but getting it out there and having everybody looking at it, and whoever fits the description will know that, hey, that was from me. Okay, a few days ago, and I don't want to dig too much into that because we have done a bit of that already. Last Hangout, it was really the main leaders of the different DNN events, like the DNN the DNN Connect. They were talking about what's going on each one of those events, and if you want to have a look and you want to have a review of that, a lot Joe had mentioned here already, but that was what happened on the last DNN Hangout by Will Stroh and Joe Brickman. Last thing here on my side is the meeting that man, let me tell you, TH is very hard for Portuguese people. So, Southern Fried DNN.
Southern Fried DNN.
That's it. One day after 30 years in Canada, I'll get there. But yeah. So, Southern Fried DNN. So, again, there was a nice...
I think you need to get Clint Patterson to record him saying that phrase for you so that you can just carry it around and push a button. It'd be Southern Fried DNN. Or
I'll get there. Maybe this time around that he will be the keynote speaker. So again, nice talk there. I haven't gone through it yet, but it seems that it was very, very well received. It's this guy. His name is Daryl Tunnell, and he talks about his DNN packager. It's again, I don't know if you have seen that, Scott, or not, but it's a way to package modules and to it's almost it's a NuGet package that you can download, for your module project. And I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure of what is the benefit of using it. I don't know if it's about creating the deployment. Do you have any insight on that, Scott?
Not sure. Not sure. I mean, I'll have to check it out. Maybe I can comment on it on the next go around. But yeah, because right now we build these community tasks, and the it's MS Build. It's baked into the template, the project, that when you kick off a release build, it does the zip packaging and to put all your stuff ready to install in DNN. But maybe he's doing it in a way that no longer is required. It's all wrapped into a NuGet package, which, by the way, I don't know if people know this or not, but they're also managing NuGet packages for DNN as well, where you no longer have to tie hard dependencies to your particular installation. You can use a NuGet package to handle all the DNN dependencies in your module. So it may be just trying to modularize those packages so that you can drop this project somewhere else and it still builds.
Maybe it's a good opportunity, Scott, down the road a little bit, that you could have a look at that and maybe address that as part of a video, no?
Yeah.
He makes extensive use of command line to essentially with options on the command line, essentially determine what kind of package he's building. There's a lot more to it. He also has a very well-written blog, and he's blogged quite a bit about this approach. I'm not a hardcore developer enough to appreciate all the details, but yeah, he's basically got his approach and the way that he builds modules down to typing commands with options, essentially, to determine everything. And by the way, this is one of those cases where he's building and packaging outside of a running DNN installation.
Perfect. Okay, so that's really it about what I had in mind. Do you guys have anything else? Is there anything that we left behind?
That's it for me.
I've got just a couple of remarks. I've kind of been looking around for DNN modules that solve simple administrator type tasks, and kind of the what I've liked a lot is a content sharing module that comes, I think it's from the DNN Connect team, that essentially allows you to share pages and modules and users across portals within a single DNN installation. And I noted that one of the modules in the module challenge is called uManage, which is intended to be a modern replacement for the user management page on DNN. I've been working with some portals that are very heavy on the user management part, and it's a very slick modern user interface that allows you to manage users and gives you a ability to click on a user, do a quick edit of their profile, or jump over to the full DNN profile editor, and also has impersonation built in. And so you can click on a user, click impersonate, and all of a sudden you are that user. And that's been very helpful to me, as I've been one of the user management tasks, or at least in testing, each user has a page or two of information that's specific to them. So rather than set up a test user and try and create phony data, it's very easy to log in as a particular user, compare their data with what you know, what you believe it should be. So that's one that looks kind of useful across the board to people who do a lot of site administration, particularly with users. It's from a group of people in Italy, and I found one localization problem that I reported to them, where when it comes up in a certain mode, it's all in Italian. And
Perfect. So that's one of the modules on the
on the module challenge.
Joe, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. So it's good for him as well. Guys, DNNCon is up. Please go. Scott, run. Joe, bye now.
yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
Looking forward to seeing you next time.